Okay, well, good morning, 7th grade. I hope it's going well. We are now on 11.7, and this is called integer operations. Okay, so really, this is a lesson that's got a lot of review. It's about order of operations. If you want to follow along, which I would suggest, we're on page 504. Okay, so here's the order of operations. This is very important. We always have a grouping, okay, which is the parentheses. Parentheses. Okay, if I spelled that wrong, that's okay. Always whatever's in parentheses first. Then we have exponents. Then we have multiply and divide. And here's the important part. This is from left to right. Okay, so if you have a division sign and then a multiplication sign, you do this one first. Okay, because you always go from left to right. So it's not like multiply first, then divide. Okay, it's not multiply, then divide. It's multiply and divide. Okay, not then. And then last year we have add and subtract. And it's the same thing with adding and subtracting, right? This is from left to right. Okay, so just remember that. It's not about, like, there's a minus sign and then a plus sign further on. You do this one down here. Do this one down here first, then this one. Okay? So I think that's a very important thing for us to work on. So there's that. If you need to write that down or just remember that, go for it. Here is what we basically what we'll do is we'll do some review. So example 1, I'm on that same page, 504. So it says 18. Wow, that's a terrible 8, but 18 minus 12 divided by negative 4. Okay, divided by a negative 4. Okay, now the key part here is what you can do is you need to divide first, right? And it doesn't matter if you include this sign or not. The book doesn't, so let's just do this. 12, so we have 18 minus 12 divided by negative 4. Okay, so it's going to be a negative, right? Because a positive and a negative is a negative. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now I come here and I say, okay, I have this sign. Minus minus becomes plus. So get 18 plus 3 equals 21. There's my answer to example 1 is 21, right? I had to do the division first, not the subtraction, right? This was second. This over here was first, right? Because of order of operations, okay? Now, let's keep going here. Let's do example 2. Okay, I think the best way for me to go through these is just to do the examples. So example 2, we have negative 6 plus, and then in parentheses, 9 minus 4 times minus 3. Now again, we always do what's in parentheses first. So I do what is 9 minus 4. So I negative 6 days plus, and then I get down here 5, right? 9 minus 4 is 5 times negative 3. Now what do I do next? I don't do this guy here. I do the multiplication. So I'm left with negative 6, and then I get plus a negative. What's 5 times 3? 15. And why is it a negative 15? Because one negative and one positive equal a negative. So now I have to rewrite this sign, if you want to do it my way, as a big old negative, and I get negative 6 minus 15. Okay, and what happens when the signs are the same? We always add. So I get 15 plus 6, which is 21. What is the sign? They both have a negative, so answer is negative 21. Okay, now let's go on here to example 3. So this is example 3. So now we have 8 times 3 minus negative 10 divided by 5. Okay, order of operations say left to right, right? So this guy is not in parentheses, he's just a negative. So I start here. I do this first, 8 times 3, which is 24. Then I do this one next, what is negative, so then I have a minus, this minus sign, just goes right there. And then I have minus, what is negative 10 divided by 5? Well, that's negative 2. Okay, and then I have 26. I'm going to get 26 because those two negatives become a positive. And I get 26. Okay, 24 plus 2 is 26. Okay, that was example 3. Now let's go on to example 4. So these just keep getting harder, obviously. So this is EX4, example 4. We have in parentheses 5 minus 14 divided by 3 times 2 minus 6. Now this one, they're trying to be tricky here because they're gonna try and get us. So the first thing we need to do is parentheses, right? So do the two parentheses first. So what is 5 minus 14? Well, we have one positive, there's one negative and one positive, so I always subtract. 14 minus 5 is 9. Which one is bigger? The negative is with the 14, so that's negative 9 divided by 3. Now I do what's 2 minus 6? Well, that's negative 4. Okay, now the tempting part here is to do the multiplication, right? The 3 times the negative 4. But no, we can't do that. We have to do the order of operations, which says to do this one first. So what is negative 9 divided by 3? Well, that is negative 3. So we have negative 3 now times a negative 4. And when we multiply those together, we get positive 12. Negative 3 times negative 4. Now, if you're confused on any of those, the book will also walk alongside you, and I'll be on those. Okay, let's do now one of the harder ones. This is example 5. Okay, the biggest thing with these is just to do one thing at a time. So they have 4, and then in the exponent, 7 minus 5, plus, and then over here in a fraction bar, 7 times 5 plus 1, all divided by the absolute value of 6 minus 9. Okay, now they're starting to do some serious stuff. So we got to do all of the parentheses and absolute values first. Okay, so I count on here the 4 stays, but then I do, so what's 7 minus 5? Well, that's squared. Okay, that's 2. Plus, and then I have 7, and then what is 5 plus 1? Well, that's 6. All that divided by what is 6 minus 9? Well, that's negative 3. But then I have the absolute value of negative 3, which is then positive 3. Okay, so now I've reduced it to that step right there. Now I take this, I actually square this. So what is 4 squared? Well, that's 16. Plus what is 7 times 6? That's 42 divided by 3. Now, the order of operations say I need to do this guy next. So what is 42 divided by 3? 42 divided by 3 is 14. 12, 0, cancel out. So now I have 16 plus 14 is 30, and 30 is my final answer. Okay, so that's how we do the ones that are more complicated like that. And one final really complicated one here before we call it quits. Turn the page here and go to example 6. Okay, so remember, the key part is just one step at a time. It's always just in order, one step at a time. So they have find the square root of 5 squared minus 3 squared. Okay, that's all in the square root. Plus a negative 2 minus 4 in parentheses. All of that divided by the absolute value of 8 minus 10. Absolute value. Okay, there's a lot going on here. But let's just say I always want to do, remember, I got to do parentheses first, and then I'm going to do exponents and stuff in here, and then absolute value. So do this guy first. So I get the square root of 5 squared minus 3 squared plus, okay, what is negative 2 minus 4? Well, the signs are the same, so I'm going to add 2 plus 4, which is 6, and the sign is negative, so it's plus a negative 6, which I'm just going to rewrite as a big old minus 6, because I know that the plus and the minus there are going to become a minus 6. Then I'm going to do what's inside these. What's 8? So I have a divided by here. What is 8 minus 10? Well, that's negative 2, but then I take the absolute value of that, and it becomes positive 2, right? The absolute value of negative 2 becomes positive 2. Now, I come up here to this exponent, and I say, what is 5 squared? Well, that's 25, minus what is 3 squared? 9. Okay, so I can work on this guy, minus 6. Minus 6 divided by 2. Now I say, what is 25 minus 9? Well, that's 16. So I get, what is the square root of 16 minus 6 divided by 2? What's the square root of 16? Well, that's 4 minus 6 divided by 2. Now I have to use my order of operations and say, I have that right there, negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. So I'm going to have 4 And then this -3 is going to come right there. -3. What's 4 minus 3? Our grand total answer, all of that, to get to an answer of 1. Just a sad little 1. So that's how you do all of the homework. So it's just plugging the numbers in and doing one step at a time, okay? So the first few here are going to be true, false. So you're going to say if the left side is equal to the right side. So this is page 506. This is 11.7. And we are going to be doing here 1 through 29 odd. Okay? 1 through 29 odd. That's our homework due on Monday. Good luck as you go into the last week. You guys have been doing awesome, and I'm excited that we are almost to the end of the semester, and I'm sure you're ready to be in the summer. That's it. Mr. H. It's over and out.